Alrighty. Wow. It's been a week since this movie has released, and I am very much far overdue to do a review. It's been a while since I've done a movie review. Um, but man, I just had to get on camera and just kind of give my thoughts about this film and how it just made me feel. And there's a lot to talk about. So, just going to give my quick thoughts. Superman. What a freaking inspiring, hopeful, very bright, and just overall, it was amazing. It was good. It was great. It was like really it really encapsulated what Superman is. Given this is the new start of the DCU, and there's a whole new era upon us. I think we're in for a ride for sure. I think this is a very good launch for the DCU, as someone I know who said that, and I totally agree with them. And I'm just overall excited. I can't wait to see what's to arrive. There's going to be a lot more characters to discover, a lot more films that are actually on their way, and I'm just like super super excited to see all of that come to fruition. So yeah, so let's just talk about the film. So okay, David Cornsweet, this guy, he gets it. Like he really embodies Clark Kent and Superman very well. And I just want to say, I just want to preface, right? This film's not perfect, right? There's some things that I had a little bit of gripes with, but overall, I really did like it. So I'm gonna talk about the positives. David Cornsweet, amazing as Superman, and Rachel Brosnahan, who plays Lois Lane, amazing. Like actually, like she did a really phenomenal job, and I think her and David have really great chemistry. I was telling someone that this type of chemistry hasn't been done on screen since like the TASM days, with Andrew Garfield and Emma Stone. I think that was like the last very good superhero relationship on screen chemistry that we've had in a very long time. So James Gunn really did cast everyone. Like he nailed all the casting, and especially with Justice Gang, those guys are amazing. And then everyone else in the Daily Planet was cool. Very minor characters, but hey, they were there. They showed up. I think a fan favorite was Jimmy Olsen. I think actually done more accurately this time. I think we all enjoyed that. But also the Justice Gang, Mr. Terrific, Hawkgirl, and Guy Gardner. Those guys were awesome. Those guys were really cool to watch, and a lot of people were actually worried that because of all these characters that were going to be in the film, and mind you, some people still actually feel this way, but it was more so like the fact of before the film released, we saw the trailer. All these people are going to be in the film. What's how's it going to be a Superman movie? It's taking away the spotlight from Superman. And I didn't really feel that way. I think everyone was balanced in a very a good way, at least for the story's sake. And the Justice Gang, they showed up, they did their thing, they helped out Superman. And it's like you have to also remember, like this is an established universe, so it's like of course, Superman, he's had to run in with these guys. He knows them, and late spoilers because film's been out for a week, so I'm just gonna kind of spoil it here for you. But keep in mind, this is your warning. He's already revealed his secret identity to these guys, So I like that it's they don't have to like retell the whole story again. Same thing with Superman and Lois. Like they've been dating for about 3 months now, and that's an established relationship. Same thing with Superman's parents, established relationship. Because Superman's just the type of character like we all know who Superman is. We know where he comes from, all that stuff. So, and I think James Gunn recently said like we don't need origin stories to be told over and over and over again. So that was really cool. Someone I knew or someone I know who said that what they liked about the beginning of the film is it opens up and it just kind of throws you in, right? It establishes the universe. It opens up with some text, kind of gives you like a breakdown of like, yep, this is Earth. There's metahumans. They've been around for so and so time, and here's Superman, the strongest one of all. Let's talk about that actually. So, a lot of people, and I say a lot of people, I mean like people who are hating on this film, particularly the Zack Snyder fan base, think this Superman is very weak. If you had been following the film and been following, James Gunn's direction and his perspective on making this film, he purposely made Superman vulnerable. And take it from me, right? I was not the biggest Superman fan, like at all. I never understood why people liked him. I was always the person to say he's too strong. He his only weakness is kryptonite. Like, okay, like he's pretty much impervious. Like he can't die. He can't do like he's always gonna win, right? So it's you kind of know what to expect. But what I really appreciate what James did with this Superman is that he actually gave him. He didn't make him the strongest. He made him very very weak in some sort of sense, but like in a realistic way, right? This Superman has been around for 3 years, and he's been Supermaning for 3 years. And in this film, in the very beginning of this film, it establishes that Superman has lost his first battle. I'm jumping ahead here, but the person who he's fighting is Ultraman, and that's a clone of Superman. So it's like, well, yeah, of course, it kind of makes sense. And with how Lex Luthor, oh my gosh, Nicholas Hoult, amazing. Forgot to mention him earlier, but they got Lex Luthor down, like very, very good. So I was very happy about that. His performance was like literally amazing. Everyone's calling him like, Master Rage Baiter, Master this, Master that. Superman, yeah, very vulnerable. Not the strongest, but he is the strongest, and I like that. I like that he's he gets those punches thrown at him. He hurts himself a little bit. He's not impervious 100%. You can still hurt this guy, and I think that's what makes him a little bit more relatable in that sense. Even with all this strength and stuff, like he can still get his ass whooped pretty much. So, I think, and obviously, I don't think he's gonna stay this way like all the way. For the sequels, I think the Superman's he's gonna get stronger, right? He's gonna get more wiser, and I think I love the cinematography and the color grading in this film. Like, and people, right? People are like, oh, it's too comic booky, it's too whimsical, it's too this, it's too that, and I'm like, so when was Superman not a comic book? Like, this man has been around for since the 1930s. And if you look at DC comic book covers and you see how Superman is presented, it's those red, white, and blue colors. Like, it's red and blue. They're very vibrant and bright colors. And the way he's drawn in comics and all that stuff, I think like they really, like I said earlier, like they really encapsulated like what Superman is, bringing up that hopeful and vibrancy to him on screen. And not only just his like suit and the color grading, and that's all great too, but like also his actions in the movie. What he does is very hopeful and bright, saving children, saving all types of people, even animals for that sake. And I think James Gunn, being the person who he is, if you know a little bit about him, he loves animals. So it's like he's working with the character of Superman, who believes all life is sacred and is saving everyone and anyone that he can, especially animals. He saves a squirrel in the film, and I think maybe that could throw some people off. Like, but it's like that's Superman. He would do that anyways. And I love how there was this moment in the movie where he's fighting the kaiju, and the kaiju shoots fire at this building, and Superman's blocking it or whatever, and he turns around at the people who got fire shot at them, and he asks them, "Is everyone okay?" And everyone nods yes, and he's like, "Okay," and he turns around and he's like, "Hey, buddy, eyes up here," and he flies. And I thought that was so cool. Like so pretty much like he's being superhero, but also checking in on the people, and I love that. Like he wants to make sure. So, and then even in the film, they establish like, okay, no casualties because Superman was here. There you go. Superman's not going to let anyone get hurt. Significant injuries. There is a war. Excuse me. There was a war that he stopped off screen, and he was explaining to Lois in that apartment scene, which was great, by the way. I really love that scene. That really shows off their dynamic and their chemistry. And it's good chemistry when they're like talking over each other and stuff, and they're just going back and forth, back and forth. It's so good. I love how they played off each other. It was amazing. But anyways, he's explaining that he stopped the war, and it was between Boravian and the Jupanar country. I don't know how to pronounce that, but he said that there was no significant casualties or no significant injuries. So Superman can be rough, he can be rough when it's needed, but he knows how to put a stop to a fight, and without anyone else getting hurt. So I think I really admire that about his Superman, and he does care, and yeah, I think this overall. So some of the things that I did not really like per se. This is just my opinion. Okay. The Metamorpho's son, Joey. I just some might think he's cute. All right. Some might think he's adorable. On the, but I don't think he's on the level of like Baby Grogu or like Baby Groot for that fact. But hey, to each their own, right? That baby was just so like annoying, and I just couldn't understand why Metamorpho couldn't hold his own baby because he had tentacles, right? He had tentacles when he was flying around, the pocket universe. And Superman was like, "I'll get to your son." He was trapped in a cube because of Lex Luthor, all that stuff. And then, yeah, that just happened. So I was like, okay, so leave all the work to Superman. And then also when Superman's like trying to save the baby, he's like keeping him up while Lex Luthor's troops are like shooting at him. And I'm like, how is this baby not getting hurt? But I'm like, okay, whatever. I just thought the baby was just a little bit, just kind of, it was too much a little bit. I mean, I didn't really mind it. It's fine, but I think it was just a little too much for me. I was like, come on, just save him already. Like, come on, just do something. So I feel like they really dragged that whole like saving the baby scene because if it weren't for the baby, they would have been able to get out of there like right then and there. Because Mr. Terrific and Lois, they showed up. They were trying to look for Clark. Like, they could have gone out of there and possibly even saved everyone else at the same time. But everyone else got saved at the end of the movie, so it's fine. It all worked out pretty much. Metamorpho, I thought he was cool, and a lot of people are not going to know who this character is, right? And that's what James Gunn does. He takes the unpopular characters, he gives them life, he gives them, depth and continuity. He really, really thinks this stuff out, and I think that's super cool. And he really cares. He really wants this universe to succeed, and he wants to shine light on those characters who have been in the dark for so long. And I think that's pretty cool. I think he's doing a really great job with that, and it's gonna be like people are gonna say like, oh, I want to see more of that character. I thought they were cool, and I think that James Gunn does a really good job with all that. So, what else did I? A lot of people are saying the pacing can feel off, which I can get behind. Pacing can feel off sometimes. It's like there's a big battle, and then it's kind of setting up another thing or setting up other characters, getting to know more about those characters, and then it goes back to action, and then it slows down a bit. So I can kind of see like what they mean by that, but it's fine. It's again, it's not perfect, but I can see why. one thing that I really did like in the film is Crypto. A lot of people did not like Crypto a lot, and maybe I'm biased because I'm a dog person. You know, I have dogs, and there's a there's a situation in the film where Crypto gets taken away and he gets stolen, and Superman has no idea what happened to him. So he goes to Lex Luthor's building, breaks in pretty much. He breaks in, and he's livid. He's so heated. He's angry, and he asks Luthor like, "Where's the dog?" And I see all these people complaining online like, "Oh, Crypto was such a bad dog. He didn't listen." Again, if you don't follow the director or anything like behind the scenes, you would know that Crypto is literally based off James Gunn's own dog named Ozu, who he adopted and trained, got to. There's a whole story behind that. So, but that's literally who Crypto is based off. That's why he doesn't look like a lab. Um, how Crypto is normally depicted in the comics and animated movies and stuff. He's, a Labrador, white Labrador. Um, Not this breed where it's, his hair is more like scruffy looking, which I didn't really mind. I liked that idea, and I liked how James Gunn incorporated his own dog. And I think because that was actually like sort of a last minute thing that he did, James Gunn, was write Crypto into the script because of his own experience with his own dog named Ozu. So again, going back to people saying that he was a bad dog. Well, that was kind of the point. James Gunn would always say in interviews like, "Hey, yeah, he's the world's worst dog. He doesn't listen." And it's like if someone took your dog and you didn't know where he was or she was, like you would act exactly like how Superman was acting. Like you would question everyone. You would be mad. You would be like frustrated because you couldn't find him. And then one of those lines that Superman said to Lois in the apartment after he's trying to find Crypto, she's like, "Oh, it's just a dog. Don't worry about it. It's fine. Like, it's just a dog, right?" Superman says, and this is the line that really got me, especially I watched it 3 times now. Just want to put that out there. It was amazing. He says to Lois, like, "Yeah, he's not even a good dog, but he's out there alone and he's probably scared." And like, I was like, "Oh my gosh!" Like that line gave me goosebumps right there, and it was just like, you see how much he cares. Because even before that piece of dialogue, Superman, or no, Lois, they're talking, and Lois was like, "You just think everyone's just so beautiful." And then that's when he says, "Oh, maybe that's the real punk rock." Because they were talking about like music and like his interests and stuff, and just trying to like escape all the chaoticness for a bit, which I like that. They're just having a one on one. But Superman's he's still on the clock. And he wants to go out there, and I don't imagine he gets tired, so that's why he can just search for however long he wants. But no, it was pretty sad though, because when he goes back to the Fortress of Solitude, which Lex Luthor and the Engineer and Ultraman, they steal information about his mom and dad, the message, and they encrypt it and all that stuff. Superman arrives. Superman bots are down. Hey, what happened? But then he whistles for Crypto, and it's like the camera, it pans out to like a wider shot of like the whole room, and there's nothing. No one shows up, and I find that so like eerie in a sense. It's like you call your dog, it's like, where is he? Where is she? Like, where's your dog at? They're not showing up. So I find that like Superman was very valid, pretty much. That's what I'm trying to say. He's very valid for how he felt there in that moment. So I thought it was very sad. But he finds him later on. They're just doing experimenting on him, and yeah, so it was good. Crypto was fine to me. He was cool, and I think you kind of have to be like a dog person to to kind of get like a sense of like likeness to him, you know, because if you're like a cat person, you're not a dog person, like you're probably not gonna really care. Let's be honest. Yeah, that movie gave me Crypto being in the film alone. That's points for me right there. So, third act. I know I'm kind of jumping around here, but third act was really cool. It was between him, the engineer, and Ultraman. One of the things I liked about what Superman did was when he was fighting the villains, he gave them a chance to back off. You don't got to do what Lex does. You know, you don't have to listen to him. We can go to him and take him down once and for all. But they didn't listen. You know, so it's like Superman. He didn't want to fight. He tried to talk things out first. You know, and I really like this guy is just not all about brawling and all that stuff. Like, yeah, he'll get down and dirty if he has to. He's gonna defend himself, but he's also just gonna be like try to talk you down at least. So I really enjoyed that. I really like that. Yeah, just overall, man, this film was just so amazing. The colors, the suit. I thought the suit. I mean, this symbol really grew on me, and I really like that. I really like the cape. Okay, the flying scenes. Oh my gosh, like so this cape, the Superman is a little bit different. He has the yellow S on the back of the cape. Super cool. Like it really stands out versus other Supermans. I'm not sure if Christopher Reeves had the yellow S on the cape, but I know Henry Cavill didn't. So it really like makes it stand out a little bit more. Kind of makes it very its own thing. Um, but yeah, the flying scenes I thought were really cool. I wish we got more though, for sure. But it was kind of like here and there. There were some in the beginning, some in the middle, and then the end. But I meant like solo flying scenes, I guess, if that makes sense. Like just kind of see him like soaring through the sky. Just like a little bit more of that. But yeah, I mean, overall, it was cool. I really enjoyed it. Can't wait for more. Supergirl's next year, so that's gonna be fun. Can't wait to see that. She's gonna be like a whole different character. She's gonna be a total mess. I can't wait to see her character arc kind of evolve into like a more protecting, wiser sort of hero. Because that film, she's supposed to be like finding her own identity, trying to find her place in the world, all that stuff. That's pretty much all I have. Just a little yap there. I enjoyed it. Can't wait to see more. I'm excited for the new DC era. And that's my review of Superman 2025. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one. Peace.